This is going to be a basic tutorial on how to get started using the Dialogic add-on for Godot. When new people try and use it, sometimes they run into little pitfalls where the text goes off the screen or it doesn't show up at all. And so I'm just going to do a walkthrough on how to initiate a timeline from a script, just because that is the easier way to do it. That's the way I prefer to do it. So I made an empty project. We're going to make a new 2D scene, and I'm going to rename it to main and save that. Then we're going to go into the Asset Library tab up here, and we're going to search for Dialogic, and we're going to install it. Once it's downloaded, you hit install, and I usually unselect everything that is not the add-ons folder because I don't need a license or README in my project. I just need the add-ons Dialogic folder. So I'm going to go ahead and install. When that's completed, we go up to Project, Project Settings, and we enable the plugin. And when the plugin's enabled, you'll see Dialogic up here. And this is where we manage our characters, timelines, all that stuff. So real fast, we're going to go ahead and make a new character, call it Godot, make it a blue color, and then we are going to make a new timeline. Double click that to rename it to test. And then we need a text event in here. So I'm going to add a text event, make the character Godot, and I'm just going to say, welcome to Godot. And I'm going to save, go back into my 2D view, and now we're ready to try and use it. So first thing, to showcase one of the issues people have, is I'm going to add a camera and move it just over here somewhere. I'm going to make it current, and then I'm going to add an area 2D, and this is what we'll be interacting with to start the timeline. So I'm going to move the area over here within the camera. I'll add the icon underneath the area, move it back to the center, and then under the area we need a collision shape. We'll make it a rectangle of size 32 by 32. Okay. And I'm going to rename this area node to icon and add a script to it. And now we are scripting, and I use VS Code as my editor because that's what I'm used to for everything else. So this will work just the same way as the built-in editor. So first thing is we need to connect a signal so that we get when the shape is clicked. So we're going to select the icon, go over here, and we want this input event. Because if we go into here, we do pickable, it is pickable, which means the mouse can hover over it and click it and stuff like that. So we need to connect the input event signal, which I always do in the ready function. You can do it manually in Godot's UI if you want. I just usually do it this way. So I'm going to call connect to the input event. And then we are connecting it to a method that's going to be in self, and it's called underscore input event. And now we need to make that a function, so let's call func input event, and then we see here it says it needs a viewport, an event, and a shape index. We don't really care about the viewport, so I'm going to put an underscore so it doesn't warn me it's unused. We do need the event, and we do not need the shape index. So let's use that event. We're going to say if the event is an input event mouse button, meaning you clicked it, then we are going to call dialogic.start, which returns the scene we add to the tree. So we need to store that in a variable, and we call dialogic.start with our timeline name, which is test, and we're going to go ahead and add child dialog. So it's pretty basic. You just start the timeline, add it to the tree, and that will add it underneath this icon. So let's see what happens when we run it. press F5 and select main. And so we click it, and the dialog is off the screen. You can still interact with it by pressing space, but this is not what we want. In order to fix this problem, we need to add the text scene, because it's UI, we need to add it to a CanvasLayer node. So we're going to go up here, we're going to add a CanvasLayer node. Now that we have that, we're going to go into our icon script, and we need to add dialog as a child to the canvas layer. So the easiest way to do that for me is I'm going to go ahead and export a node path variable, and we're going to call that canvas layer path. Then we go back in here and we see the canvas layer path. We're just going to go ahead and assign that to the canvas layer. And to get the node, we say an onReady var canvas layer, and we just set that to get node for the previous variable. So now when we run the scene, this canvas layer will hold a reference to this canvas layer. And then all we do is just say canvas layer.addChild. And then when you run it, and you click it, it shows up in the canvas layer.